Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns. And today I'm going to do another one in Seasonal Wreath of Plants and Friends. And we're going to do this page here. It's fall, it's September, so we're starting into fall, so I thought it would be appropriate. So let's get started. I'm going to use Prismacolor colored pencils. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Just want to point out all of my color alongs, almost all of them, are set at 2x speed so that you can change your settings on your end so that you can watch this in real time. You can skip ahead or whatever you wish. Now, I colored this page last year, but I just didn't get the video up on the channel. But I really like how this page turned out, and I was using the same colors that I used in the page opposite. So that's what I'm doing here. But I really like how these fall leaves turned out. So I thought today we would talk a little bit about why leaves change, since we're coloring leaves of different colors. I'm going to talk briefly about that. And then I found a really cool channel or website. It's actually called Triple Moon Psychotherapy. I was Googling like autumn folklore. Like, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about like some of the symbolism of fall and where it came from. I love origins, like when you hear about where certain little turns of phrase come from or something like that. So I thought that might be interesting, and I ran across this channel, and I know nothing about the channel, only that it seems to have some of the information that I was interested in. So let's start with why leaves change color. And I was kind of curious, leaves change color because of chlorophyll. A plant uses chlorophyll to, it's kind of like the hemoglobin that we have in our system, right? It converts carbon dioxide into necessary nutrients for the tree. And that's what chlorophyll is green, so that's what gives trees the green color. Now, I'm paraphrasing all of this, so if you're a scientist, I might make you a little crazy. Well, I might make you crazy even if you're not a scientist, but let's not get carried away, shall we? But anyway, chlorophyll's green, so that's what we see. And what happens is over time, as we go into fall, there's less sunlight. And so with less sunlight, we have less chlorophyll. So the other components that are in the tree's leaves itself, and there's those fancy scientific terms for them, but there's some that work for orange and there's some that are more like red-like. So imagine, if you will, like a brown color, and it's got blue and yellow and red in it, and all of those are mixed up to make a brown. If you take away, let's say, yellow, now we have a lot of blue and a lot of red, it's going to look more purple. But if you take away the red, now we have blue and yellow, it's going to look more green, right? So that's kind of what's going on when leaves change. So we get less sunlight, so we're producing less chlorophyll. Chlorophyll's green, so now we've reduced our green. And some of these red and orange, I don't know if the word is chemicals, but basically now they're in a bigger population, so we start to see those colors. Now, this says this can be due to the type of tree that it is. Like some trees, like your maples and oaks, have a lot more of the red components in them. They're called anthocyanins, right? And And then there's others like birches and aspens that have a lot more carotenoids, which produce the yellows and the oranges. So you're naturally going to see some of those. But then you have some environmental factors that can influence the color as well, like the weather conditions. So if you have a lot of warm and sunny days and cool nights, that can enhance the red making, the anthocyanins, right? And you'll see more red in the trees. But if you have a fall that has a lot more overcast days, you're going to get more yellows and oranges. And then the nutrient availability in the soil can also make a difference. Now, some trees, like evergreen trees, they, well, let's talk briefly about why do the leaves fall off of trees, right? So as we go into fall and winter, we have less sunlight available. And so the plant is basically becoming more efficient. It knows in order to protect the overall plant, it needs to get rid of all of the leaves because the leaves require a lot of chlorophyll and energy, the chlorophyll's making the nutrients for the tree, right? So if we don't have the sunlight available, they're going to shed the parts of the plant that they don't need in order to protect the core plant so that it can reproduce in the spring. When there's more sunlight available, it will start to produce the leaves again. So it's kind of a protective kind of thing. So in plants like evergreens and the ones that have like the pine needles and stuff, like Christmas trees, they don't lose their needles the same way. Because of their shape, like they're the long spindly, they're kind of tight woven, they can and they have a waxy coating over them. This helps them conserve water, and so they don't have to shed their needles to protect the tree in the same way. Generally speaking, they do also turn brown and fall off, but they don't do it all as a whole tree, right? Some needles fall off, others are still growing. In the meantime, new needles are always happening. Now, some trees, this happens more in the spring than it does the fall. Some it happens in the fall, and it usually happens anywhere from every 2 to 5 years. It depends on the tree. So like white pines, every 2 to 3 years, they're losing their needles. So in a tree, imagine that a branch is produced in this year, 2025, and we have a new branch. In the next 2 or 3 years, those needles will fall off. But the branch that was produced the year before, it's going to fall off a year earlier. I hope that makes sense, because I'm just kind of paraphrasing, because, nobody really cares about all the deep scientific stuff unless that's your field of interest, right? I mean, I think in general, we all just kind of want to know in general what happens. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I can deeper dive if you all need. But, I think it's kind of fascinating myself, and living in a state that is kind of renowned for the fall foliage, right? Obviously, I want to go to Vermont or someplace like that someday and see the truly spectacular. Like, we don't have a lot of maples and elms and different things here. We have a lot of aspen, a lot of evergreen, but we're not renowned for the red foliage like Vermont is, for example. Can you tell that I don't know as much about the East because I only reference Vermont? Help me out. Help me out if you live back East and want to contribute to the conversation. I love to learn new things. But I will say, it's really interesting to me that like some years the foliage happens sooner. I always contribute that to weather. But some years the colors are definitely much more red, and other years they're more orange and yellow. And I love the serendipity of that, right? But anyway, I thought that it'd be kind of fun to just learn a little bit about that. Okay, so let's move on to this other website. Now, it looks like this lady is a psychotherapist and she sells candles, autumn-inspired candles. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description. But let's start with, it says the autumn equinox. So it happens on Monday, September 22nd. Somebody reminded me I did a fall video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I just go through my books on that have fall pages just as kind of an inspiration for you, because sometimes, unless the book is all about fall, it's like, who has the time to flip through every book, right? Looking for that perfect fall page. So I thought that might be helpful. And I also do a lot of poking fun at fall. And personally, I love fall, even though technically it's not September 22nd yet. We've got another 10 more days. The air is crisp at night. We're in the 50s at night. We're in the 80s during the day. And, you know, this is the time of year I can have the windows open in my house and just have a lot of clean, fresh air coming in. And I just love it so much. Okay, so let's talk about the symbolism of autumn. Change and transition is kind of a signature point for autumn. It's a time of year when we turn inwards and we tend to do things at home, many family-related things, solitary pursuits, and just kind of reflecting on a deeper level. Autumn symbolizes balance and harmony. The sun's entrance into Libra, which is my birth sign, represented by the balance scales, reminds us of the importance of equilibrium in our lives. It also means that you can't make a decision. My husband often laughs because we'll go into some place that we've eaten like a million times, and I'm like, I don't know what I want. And he's like, how can you not know what you want? Like, we've been here a million times. And then after, like, you know, contemplating for a while, I end up getting the same thing I always do. You know, let the eye rolling begin. But, you know, decision making sometimes can be difficult. Okay, it says, as we bid farewell to the vibrancy and excitement of summer, autumn offers us the opportunity to recenter ourselves and ground in the present moment. It's a season that beckons us to reconnect with the earth and nurture our inner equilibrium to approach the coming days with a renewed sense of balance and purpose. Also known as the harvest season, it's a time of abundance and preparation. Right? So you think of the cornucopia, like just stuff full of all the goodness, right? The animals prepared their dens and homes with provisions and comfort to withstand the upcoming weather. It's a time of letting go, like the leaves that shed their leaves, and the serpent that sheds its skin. Autumn signifies a season of letting go, right? And reevaluating maybe old habits and, you know, taking solace in that things will renew and will come again, right? So what are some of the actual symbols? Well, the harvest moon, it says here, it's a wondrous sight to behold. It occurs closest to the autumnal equinox, illuminates the sky with its radiant glow, casting a luminous spell on the land below. This year on September 20th, 2021, the harvest moon once again graced us with its presence. For farmers, this celestial event has long been valuable aid, providing much needed illumination as they work to harvest their summer-grown crops before winter's arrival. Okay, I had to take a moment to look up the harvest moon. So it says here, the full moon closest to the September equinox is called the harvest moon. It is unique because the moon rises close to the same time several days in a row. Okay, so the harvest moon is the full moon nearest the fall equinox. The fall equinox is September 22nd, remember. This year, it's going to be October 26th at 9:47 p.m. So we can all go out and do a little howling. Okay, so what does it say here? While we're in here, let's talk about it. On average, the moon rises about 50 minutes later each day. At full moon, it rises as the sun sets. In the northern hemisphere, around the harvest moon, the difference in the time of moonrise from one day to the next is less than 50 minutes. With successive moonrises coming around the same time of day, it may feel like there are several full moons in a row. Historically, the extra moonlight meant that farmers could work and harvest their crops for longer times in the evening, hence they called it the farmer's moon. Astronomers explained that the harvest moon phenomenon by noting that on September evenings, the ecliptic makes a shallow angle with the horizon in the north hemisphere. The path is that the sun and, roughly speaking, the moon follow across the sky. Another way to think about this is to think about the Earth's tilt. As our planet's axis spins, the imaginary line connecting the north and south poles is tilted. This is what gives us our seasons. When the north pole is tilted towards the sun, it's the summer in northern hemisphere. And when the north pole points away from the sun, it's the northern hemisphere's winter. The moon orbits Earth roughly once a month. At full moon, it lies on the opposite side of the Earth to the sun. This means that when the Earth is tilted towards the sun, it is tilted away from the full moon. A couple other things to note. The full moon will peak at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So when I said 9:47, that was actually Mountain Standard Time. But it will be a supermoon, the first of 3 consecutive supermoons in 2025. And this is a rare occurrence that it falls in October rather than September, which only happens about every 2 to 3 years. This rare occurrence where the harvest moon is in October rather than September, a shift. Oh, I just said that. In the southern hemisphere, the harvest moon will occur on April 2nd, 2026. Just a little moon folklore for fun. Corn planted under a waning moon grows slower but yields larger ears of corn. Babies born a day after the full moon enjoy success and endurance, and a new moon in your dream increases wealth or a happy marriage. So I hope that you all are dreaming of new moons. Okay, so now let's talk about pumpkins. As autumn descends upon Mexico City, the vibrant streets come alive with the festival preparations for Dia de los Muertos, a celebration of life and death that has been cherished tradition for centuries. In the bustling markets, the calabaza reigns supreme, a quintessential symbol for the season. A word meaning pumpkin or squash in Spanish is derived from the indigenous language of the Aztecs and Mayans, who revered this humble crop as a sacred gift from earth. Indeed, the history stretches back more than 7,500 years, a testament to its earning significance in the culture and cuisine of Mexico. But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how jack-o'-lanterns originated, right? If that's where pumpkins got their significance to autumn, how did jack-o'-lanterns come to be? Okay, it says, before we carved pumpkins, the Irish chiseled creepy faces onto turnips. This is on history.com. Pumpkins with ghoulish faces illuminated by candles are a sure sign of the Halloween season. The practice of carving ghoulish faces on vegetables may have roots in Ireland, where large turnips served as early canvases. In fact, the name jack-o'-lantern comes from an Irish folktale about a man named Stingy Jack. Irish immigrants brought the tradition to America, home of the pumpkin, and it became an integral part of Halloween festivities. So what is this legend of Stingy Jack? People have been making jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween for centuries. One version of the practice may have originated from an Irish legend, which first appeared in print in the 19th century about a man named Stingy Jack. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. True to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to buy their drinks. Once the devil did so, Jack decided to keep the money and put it in his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from changing back into his original form. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he would not bother Jack for 1 year, and that should Jack die, he would not claim his soul. The next year, Jack again tricked the devil into climbing into a tree to pick a piece of fruit. While he was up in the tree, Jack carved a sign of the cross into the tree's bark so that the devil could not come down until the devil promised Jack not to bother him for 10 more years. Soon after Jack died, as the legend goes, God would not allow such an unsavory figure into heaven. The devil, upset by the trick that Jack had played on him and keeping his word not to claim his soul, would not allow Jack into hell. He sent Jack off into the dark night with only the burning coal to light his way. Jack put the coal in a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth with it ever since. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, and then simply jack-o'-lantern. That story likely drew on parallel etymology of the term jack-o'-lantern as akin to will-o'-the-wisp, a mysterious light seen in the wooded or swampy areas at night, sometimes with natural causes, other times as a result of mischievous children lighting lanterns. In Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of Jack's lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips and placing them in windows or near doors to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. In England, large beets are used. Immigrants from these countries brought their vegetable carving traditions with them when they came to the United States, helping change America pumpkin carving from a general autumn pastime to one uniquely associated with Halloween. Do you guys find this stuff interesting? I hope so. I just feel like, what can I say? On this picture, it's pretty straightforward. You add one color, you add the next color next to it, add the next color and blend them all out, right? So anyway, I hope you're enjoying this. So let's talk about the cornucopia. At the heart of Mabon's ancient traditions, which Mabon is the autumn equinox, lies the cornucopia, a symbol of abundance and plenty that has long captured the people's imaginations worldwide. Often referred to as the Horn of Plenty, this iconic symbol speaks to the bounty of the harvest season, a time when the earth overflows with the fruits of its labor. From the golden grains of wheat to the succulent fruits and vegetables that grace our tables, the cornucopia reminds us of the boundless generosity of nature and the abundant blessings surrounding us. Next up, acorns and oak trees. Now, if you're from Arkansas, it may be acorn. If you know, you know. But anyway, the acorn symbolizes the perseverance and tenacity required to achieve great things. Only on fully mature oaks can these small yet tough fruits be found, a testament to the long-term effort and dedication necessary to bring our dreams to fruition. Well, let's talk about the acorn. While technically a tree nut, it's actually very rare for people to have allergies to acorns. In fact, there's never been a recorded death relating to acorns. However, they don't recommend that people with nut allergies eat them. So while we're talking about nuts, acorns are nuts, but actually almonds are not. They're a drupe, much like plums and peaches. So that was kind of interesting. I gotta say, one of the most interesting things that I found, though, is that a part of the male anatomy was named after the acorn. It's the glans, or the head of the penis, because glans is the Latin word for acorn. I found this funny, and I'm sure for those of you that can picture things in your mind, you understand where that reference came from. Acorns are considered an essential fall food, with 25% of a deer's diet is acorns. Mice, woodpeckers, blue jays, and ducks like to snack on them too. Many animals pick them up and bury them and then forget about them, and this allows little new oak trees to grow. Now, even though it's actually considered a superfood because it has, quite a bit of fat and carbohydrates and stuff like that in it, it's actually hard for us to digest because it has tannins. So I think they recommend that you soak them before eating them. I don't live in an area where there are a lot of acorns, and so I'm not as familiar. But Aboriginal people, about 75% of their diet was acorns. So it's definitely a good source of nutrients if you can break it down. Now, some animals like deer and such, their stomach naturally does it. And for animals like squirrels, where they don't, they just eat so many that it doesn't matter that they're not getting all the nutrients they need. They're getting some, and they make up for it in quantity. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Next, I thought we would just learn a few fun facts about fall. We talked about our leaves just basically no longer being green, so it's not that they turn into something, it's just the green goes away, exposing the other colors. Do you know what the most searched candle scent is? I can hear you all screaming, pumpkin pie spice. Well, it's actually just pumpkin. Pumpkin led the searches in 9 states. Vanilla was in the top in 8 states. Lavender, lemon, and rose tied for 3rd with 3 apiece. So I thought it was interesting that they only tested 20 states. So I'm not sure how accurate those stats are there. So-called decorative gourds have a long functional history. Historians report for centuries that indigenous people and the colonists who joined them in North America have hollowed out and hung the hard-shell fruit around their dwellings to attract birds. The man-made welcome was so effective that most purple martins in the eastern United States now rely on humans to create their homes. Well, I didn't know that. That's a fun fact. Leaf peeping is a Vermont term. Leaf peeper evolved from leaf peeker, a term used in Vermont at the beginning of the 20th century. Its first appearance in print was thoughts of a leaf peeper in a column in the Bennington Banner in 1966. It talks about the locals grumbling about out-of-towners causing traffic jams with their peeping, including one who sported a tourist go-home sign on their car. Leaf peeper. Those damn leaf peepers. Okay. Only Americans and Canadians say fall. Until the 16th century, English speakers referred to the season between summer and winter as harvest, in reference to picking, plucking, or reaping. A term that evolved to both autumn, the passing of the year, and fall, short for fall of the leaf and fall of the year, as people began to move away from farmland. Autumn and fall were both used in the English when the English began to colonize North America, and while Americans and English-speaking Canadians still use them both, fall fell out of use across the Atlantic. I didn't know that. World War I popularized corn. Am I having trouble enunciating today? Yes, I am. Until wartime wheat shortages forced Americans to get comfortable with meal, flour, and bread made with corn, it wasn't an especially attractive foodstuff for most people. The development of sweet, tasty hybrids then brought corn to the dining table. New techniques, in turn, brought it into processed food by way of high fructose corn syrup just over a century later. Corn is now a part of the production of almost everything that we eat. And we're not going to get into that. That's all the farther we're going. This is a channel of fun and light. S'mores owe their name to the Girl Scouts. So, Trampling and Trailing with the Girl Scouts, a guidebook published in 1927, gave us both a recipe, eventually created to troop leader Loretta Scott Crew, and a term for the classic marshmallow plus chocolate plus graham cracker campfire treat. Though it tastes like some more, one is really enough. The guide observed it. Is it though, Girl Scouts? Is it? Who can eat just one s'more? Well, to be fair, I haven't had a s'more for a really long time. It's been a while since I've been camping, sad to say. I'm hoping to do quite a bit next year. Okay, we talked about the cornucopia. Pumpkin pie spice was first sold in 1933. The Thompson and Taylor Spice Company, a Chicago-based institution that was once so large that its factory and warehouse, I am so sorry, featured tunnels for railroad cars, released a 9-ingredient pre-blended mixture called pumpkin pie spice in 1933. 1 year later, McCormick and Company released their own take on the product, a 4-spice version including allspice, cinnamon, ginger, and nutmegs, and is still on the shelves today. Who doesn't have that in their pantry? I do. The PSL was almost the fall harvest latte. I think they're talking about, okay, keep reading, Wendy. Developed by then director of espresso, Peter Dukes. Starbucks' iconic pumpkin spice latte could have entered the cultural lexicon as the fall harvest latte, another original name contender, according to the company. Since the drink's debut in 2003, more than 600 million, everyone put your pinky up to your lips, you know you're thinking it, PSLs have changed hands around the world. The pumpkin spice latte nickname, incidentally, comes from the company itself. It's the code baristas write on the cup. Y'all thought I was crazy when I was making fun of the pumpkin pie lattes the other day. Pumpkin spice is everywhere. And that was just the lattes, y'all. That's just Starbucks lattes. Okay, moving on. California hosted the biggest corn maze. Cool Patch Pumpkins of Dixon, California snagged the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest temporary corn or crop maze in October of 2014. Their 60-acre behemoth featured abstract geometric patterns. Stony Brook Farms of Foley, Minnesota is making a play for that leafy throne. Their 110-acre Halloween-themed maze featuring old-school horror movie characters and more than 32 miles of pathways is awaiting officially its certification. Does that make you want to go to Foley, Minnesota? 32 miles? Are you kidding me now? How many days does it take to get through the maze? Because I'm a slow walker. Okay, the first Macy's Day Parade had zoo animals. Long before Spider-Man and SpongeBob's floated above the streets of New York City, the first Macy's Christmas Parade, as it was originally known, was a 6-mile affair billed in advertisements as a marathon of mirth and held on November 27, 1924. It featured costume Macy's employees on floats and participants on loan from the Central Park Zoo, including elephants, bears, camels, and monkeys. The animals were none too pleased about the arrangement, as you would expect. Their noises frightened children, and their droppings created minefields for parade goers. Character balloons replaced them in the years to follow, to everyone's relief. 30 to 40 apples yield 1 gallon of cider. If trips to the local farm stands and green markets can't fully satisfy your craving for the good stuff, might we suggest renting or buying a press and making your own fresh apple cider? You'll get an excellent arm workout as the seasonal sips go. It couldn't get more delicious. You'll also need a lot of apples, which is why many cider maker supply lists include a wheelbarrow in addition to a cutting board, knife, and empty pitchers. It really is crazy the amount of apples it takes. My neighbor next door has an apple tree, and last year they made juice or cider or whatever from it. And she was amazed because she had so many apples, she didn't know what to do with them. She was like, oh, that helped quite significantly. So where do you think the largest ever apple was picked from? I really doubt that you're going to guess where it was from. It was picked in Japan. According to the Guinness Book of World's Record, it was grown and picked by Chisato Iwasaki at his home in Hirosaki, Japan, a northern city known for its apple production. The brilliant red and downright massive fruit weighed 1.849 kilograms, or just over 4 pounds. That is absolutely insane. 4 pounds? Are you kidding me? My dog is 10 pounds. That means that apple was a third, if not more than a third, of her body weight. Japan? I thought they were cherry blossoms. The things we learn, y'all. Jenga-style kindling stacks burn best. Some call it log cabin arrangement, and others point to its resemblance to the popular block balancing game, but campfire building aficionados agree one of the simplest ways to arrange kindling to get a merry blaze crackling is to crisscross layers of sticks at right angles. This creates an open box formation with lots of gaps to promote airflow. Your kindling itself should be no thicker than the Jenga pieces, that is about 2.5 centimeters wide, and it should also be completely dry. The teepee method also works. to get it started. I've used both. Pumpkin seeds are a superfood. If you favor slicing and dicing your own pumpkins for pie, reserve and soak their seeds to remove the pulp, add spices of your choice, and roast them on a cookie sheet at the top rack of your oven for 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. As the American Heart Association notes, these babies pack in 5.2 grams of fiber per servings, as opposed to the 1.8 grams you'll get from shelled stove-bought pepitas. A quarter cup of pumpkin seeds provides 42% of your recommended daily magnesium intake, which keeps your heart and bones healthy, lowers blood pressure, and can prevent migraines. They're also super tasty. Do you guys like them? Let me know in the comments. The first tailgaters saw Harvard play Yale. In 1906, more than 32,000 college football fans converged in New Haven, Connecticut. Football historians note that those crowds included the very first tailgaters. The New York Times offered the first printed evidence of small parties of automobilists eating tempting victuals that had been brought in hampers spread out in picnic fashion on tablecloth laid upon the ground, initially called parking lot picnics, and the gatherings became tailgating in the 1950s. Archaeologists' remains found in pottery in what now Belize consider that cacao was prepared as a medicinal beverage at least as early as 600 BC. The conquistador Hernan Cortes visited the New World and brought cocoa back to Spain in 1512, where it quickly gained popularity as a restorative beverage that could induce euphoria, medicinally, of course. Marshmallow is a plant. The pillowy treats we now sprinkle on cocoa and toast over campfires don't just take their name from the white blooms pictured here. Marshmallows, or Athena officinalis, is a herb. Mallow is a plant, and it initially grew in salty soil near marshes, and the original source of the confection. Ancient Egyptians squeezed its sap, which contains gummy substance called mucilage, that sounds gross, then mixed it with nuts and honey to create a rare delicacy, and it's been used as medicine and foodstuff for more than 2,000 years. The marshmallows we consume now are made with thickening agents like gelatin, pectin, and agar, but until the 1800s they were made with whipped mallow sap. The first turkey trot was held in 1896. If you lace up for a dash on certain Thursday in November, you'll have a symbolic role in the oldest continuous foot race in North America. The very first turkey trot was an 8-kilometer held in Buffalo, New York, 126 years ago. 6 runners started, 1 quit after 2 miles, others seated in the field when their late breakfast refused to keep its proper place, and the winner averaged 6-minute miles to finish in 31 minutes 12 seconds. That same race has been held annually ever since. Records of breakfast adventures have thankfully gone mostly undocumented. Well, thanks. I'm glad. I think we can agree there's no need to document that anymore. So let's talk about maybe some fall traditions that you could incorporate into your family, and maybe you already have. Let me know in the comments if you do any of these, if you have done these. Do you do them every year? Is this something that you're interested in? So visit a pumpkin patch. This is kind of a big one where I live. There's a lot of pumpkin patches. There's one within probably a mile of my house. And it's basically where you go and you just pick your own pumpkin right out of the field. So, and then there's some that are already brought, to the shop up front or whatever that you can also choose. But it's kind of fun for kids. I know as a kid we grew our own pumpkins. I have a picture of me in about probably third grade, and I have a pumpkin that's literally at least 3 feet tall. It was kind of wonky shaped. It wasn't really like fat round. It was more of a tall, skinny pumpkin, but it was about 3 feet tall. It was humongous. I won some sort of ribbon for it being the biggest one. But anyway, carving a jack-o'-lantern is a big thing. Nathan and his family do this. His wife's family all get together. They have a contest. They have tables lined up. Everybody gets a pumpkin. Everybody carves, and then everybody votes on it. And they all pitch in for prizes. And it's, they spend the day as a family doing that. And I think that's a really fun tradition that I love seeing my grandkids do. Bobbing for apples. I don't know that they do this a whole. Let me know in the comments. I'm asking a lot of you in the comments because I am curious about this kind of stuff, if it's a regional thing or not. I remember as a kid bobbing for apples, not often, but I know I've done it. Some places they hang them on string, and back in the day, this was actually how it was said that if you, like, the apples were named with like guys' names, boys' names, and if you bobbed for the apple and you got it on the first try, then it was a sure bet, like, that's the guy you were going to be married to and you're going to live a happy marriage. If you got it on the second, like, there might be some initial attraction, but it wouldn't last. And if you missed it, then forget about it. That's not the relationship for you. For us, it was something that we did like at a little fall festival. I grew up in a town of about 5,000, so we did small little festivals like that, and like the school put it on, and like there was a dunk tank, and just carved pumpkins, pumpkin pie eating contests, different things like that, and you could win prizes. There was foot races. I really feel like we've gotten away from that kind of stuff as a society. And I know bobbing apples, a lot of people would be all freaked out about all the germs. I, for one, I am very aware of germs. I have my license in mold inspection. I have been very well versed in that kind of stuff. However, I'm also a big believer in keeping your immune system on alert. So I feel like if you disinfect your entire world, then when you do get around germs, your body is kind of unprepared for it and is like, it's like a well-trained army, right? If you're always training, and something happens, you're aware of what to do. And I feel like, the body's the same way. Now, does that mean that I go around people that have the flu and say, hey, kiss me or sneeze on me or something? No, definitely not. I think within reason. I just, I'm not a hand sanitizer person. If you are, I know people that are, I have family members that are, and I respect that. And I respect that that's your belief and it's working for you. So, not a judgment, just me blathering because, that's what I do. I blather. Okay, next up, bake a fall pie. Apple pie, pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, cranberries, mixed berries. I think the sky is really the limit. I personally am not a fan of pumpkin pie. This makes me very rare in my family, very, nominal. My uncle and I used to tease that it was baby poop pie. And my whole family would just say, well, more for me. And they would eat it. But, yeah. But I do feel like it is a time to like bake cinnamon rolls. And I don't know. I love cinnamon. I love the smell of it. So to me, that's kind of what I equate to fall. Go for a tractor ride. I don't know how popular this is anymore because my kids are all grown, but as a kid, it was a big thing to go for tractor rides, go for hay rides. That was very common. We used to do hayride pulls to go see Christmas lights even. So I do feel like that's something that is probably more of a regional thing, but it's often fun. Celebrate Oktoberfest. The real Oktoberfest is in Munich, Germany in the second week of September. But there are a lot of places that have Oktoberfest like festivals. I had the pleasure of attending 3 Oktoberfests, I guess, and they were a lot of fun, and it's fun to meet people from all over the world that come there. The beer is good, and it's just a lot of fun. So I encourage you, if you can, check it out. Also, Munich in the fall, you can drop down into Switzerland and Austria. Absolutely stunning, the Bavarian region. Friendly people, although friendly in a different way than you might see in the United States. But yeah, I very much love that experience. Okay, moving forward. Go on a fall picnic. I think a picnic is always fun. We did that when the boys were young. We would do stuff like that. Make s'mores around a campfire. Camping late in the season has its challenges, especially where I live. But we did our fair share of s'mores, and we did. We had, what were they? What did we call those things? Pie makers. I think we just called them pie makers, but they were like a square. Those machines that make the like grilled cheeses? It was kind of like that, only you just stuck it in the campfire. So you put your piece of bread on it, and then you put whatever ingredients you wanted. So you could put apple pie filling, a little bit of cheese, and a little bit of butter, and then put your 2 pieces of bread with that in the middle, and then toast it in the campfire. So good. We made pizza ones. We made ham and Swiss. We made breakfast ones where we would put egg and cooked bacon and sausage and the like, and make those little things. We loved. Oh, mountain pies. That's what we call them, mountain pie makers. Can you tell them my kids are 31 and 33? So it's been a hot minute since we were doing all that stuff, because as Lonnie and I have become empty nesters, so to speak, we don't do as much of those kind of things. They just take a little more work, so, but I really enjoyed that a lot. And it was always fun to give the boys carte blanche at the store to pick their ingredients for when we went camping. And that's always has a lot of good memories. Watch your favorite spooky movies. So like Halloween movies. I know as a kid, I used to love to wait for the Peanuts. What is it? It's the Great Fall, Charlie Brown, or something like that. I have the memory of that. But I used to really, no, it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, right? And, just watching those kind of things. I think those are fun little traditions. And the last one is visit a haunted house. So those are always kind of fun too. There's some pretty elaborate ones nowadays and very realistic. And then there's the little kid simplistic versions. My son built his own mini haunted house for the kids in his area that was designed for little kids. So nothing too scary, but just something for them to kind of traipse through and then get a little treat at the end. All right, guys, I'm running out of things to say. Believe it or not, if y'all would talk back to me, we could go on for hours. But this one-sided conversation is a little difficult. What do you think of the page so far? I really like how this page turned out. I love this book. I think the critters are just adorable. And I like this color palette, like the rich mahogany reds of these leaves just appeal to me. So let me know in the comments, what are your favorite things about fall? Do you like fall? I read one comment that says, weather, nature, comfort food, hot drinks. Everything feels different in fall, like the beginning is something new, but also there's always something nostalgic about it. And of course, my autumn movie marathon. Love this tradition. The nostalgia and getting a childhood feeling of excitement for Halloween, the upcoming holidays, etc. The colors and coolness is obviously a huge plus, but there's that certain feeling that makes you happy and want to cry at the same time. Anyway, still looking for a place to move that is perpetually autumn. Well, dude, if you find it, could you please let me know where that is? Because I too would love to live somewhere perpetually autumn. But I think that sums it up a lot for me. I think we appreciate autumn because of the heat of the summer. We can appreciate the cool. So, just like we need darkness for something to look bright. So I always try and keep that in mind. But I will say it is my favorite season and I love it. And I have enjoyed spending time with you today. If you're looking for more fall inspiration and maybe you just want to have a giggle, I have a video where I show all my fall pages. I think I talked about it at the beginning of this video. I will put it up on the end screen here so you can just click on it. I'm definitely more snarky. There's really no education. It's just all about different coloring books and pages and some fall fun. So I hope you take a look at that. If you want to join my Facebook group, there's a link in the description box below. Phenomenal group so that you can post your fall pictures and get some feedback, meet new people that are into adult coloring. I'm really enjoying the group because it is a very positive place that's small enough that you can feel safe chatting, unlike YouTube that, has trolls and such. We don't have any of those. So I'll list that in the description box below. There's also a link if you want to become a member. I'm going to start doing more member-only things. There's only a few minutes left, so stick around because that's where all the magic happens at the end. So until next time, happy fall, y'all. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you'd like even more Jazzy Doodle and a little more snark, please check out the membership below. If you're looking for a community where you can share your work and chat with other fellow colorists in a safe and welcoming environment, hit the subscribe button to Jazzydoodledesigns and then look for Jazzydoodledesigns Coloring Community on Facebook. And there you can join a group of fellow colorists to talk all things coloring and share cute pet pictures. I hope to see you there. And until next time, happy coloring.